Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight in Our News, an F&M backbencher says he's going independent. Plus, the health minister refuting claims that doctors were fired from the hospital. And a woman suffering from kidney disease tells her story.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Jared Higgs. Topping news tonight, Golden Isles Member of Parliament Vaughan Miller has resigned from the Free National Movement, becoming an independent Member of Parliament. Miller is the second F&M MP to sever ties with the governing party in 2 months. He announced that he would quit the party during his contribution to debate on an amended resolution for a vote of confidence in Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis. Vonnie Toot reports.
Mr. Speaker, I'm requesting that at the next sitting, that I be seated among the independent row and take up my place in this House.
And with that, Golden Isles MP Vaughan Miller became an independent, joining Centerville MP Reece Chipman, who quit the Free National Movement in October of this year.
Two cannot walk together except they be agreed. Obviously, Mr. Speaker, our differences are irreconcilable. Mr. Speaker, the F&M will not repent and I shall not recant.
Miller said today saddens him deeply because he did not join the Free National Movement to become a political dissident. However, he asserted he entered Parliament as a free black man with his integrity intact, and he intends to exit Parliament the same way.
Based on the rhetoric, Mr. Speaker, of my colleagues before and during the election campaign, rhetoric that spoke of integrity and honesty and transparency and other lofty and noble ideals, I was convinced that we were on the road, a glorious road to a golden age in Bahamian politics. No more corruption. No more untended contracts.
Things began to unravel when Miller voted against the VAT increase and the controversial move to enter a lease agreement with Town Centre Mall, which is partially owned by then Cabinet Minister Brent Simonet.
My objection to the Town Centre Mall deal was that it was wickedness and that my supporting vote would itself have been foolishly corrupt, even if the House had not been misled, because it was patently wrong for a sitting cabinet minister to enter into a contract with the government, period. It is unfair, it is greedy, it is unethical, it is immoral, period.
Miller says he stands by his decision to oppose the decision to relocate the General Post Office to a building owned by a cabinet minister.
I stood opposed to the deal because it had the most offensive stench of political filth. I said it then, and I'm saying it now. Many of my F&M colleagues since then have reviled me. Many near and far have persecuted me, spoke and plotted all manners of evil against me.
Miller called it a nasty deal. He revealed he was told he is finished politically and would never receive another nomination from the F&M. However, he asserted his destiny does not lie in the hands of any man.
Since we have been elected, Mr. Speaker, at an alarming rate, we have lost touch with the electorate. And Mr. Speaker, if this trajectory continues, many of us could bid this House goodbye the next time. It was said that I would be destroyed by the party. It's amazing how people think.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Vonnie Toot.
The opposition moved its much-anticipated vote of no confidence in Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis in Parliament today. Opposition leader Philip Davis charged that Minnis has repeatedly misled the Bahamian people but government MPs quickly quashed it by amending the motion to a vote of confidence in the Prime Minister. Jasmine Brown reports.
As expected, the opposition moved that motion for a vote of no confidence in the Prime Minister. However, they were quickly shot down by members of the governing party. The drama kicked off outside the House of Assembly, where Free National Movement supporters showed up wearing Rock for Doc t-shirts.
My Prime Minister has done a good job and being scared.
A handful of PLP supporters also came out. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnish brushed off those few supporters as he entered the House of Assembly.
You will hear everything as I speak inside.
So no response to these protests from the opposition this morning?
You will hear everything. 3 people.
Inside Parliament, Member of Parliament for Cat Island, Runke and San Salvador, Philip Brave Davis, moved the motion. Davis contended that Minnish knowingly, intentionally and deliberately misled the House of Assembly when he said that St. Anne's MP Brent Simnett was not involved in the discussions, negotiations and or the decision concerning the town centre mall lease agreement.
The question of integrity, one of the 7 principles of public life, was also violated in our view.
The government passed a resolution to lease the mall to house the General Post Office on October 24, 2018 from Simonette and his brother. At the time, Minnish told the House that Simonette, quote, was not allowed to participate in the discussions or the decision to lease space within the mall for the General Post Office. However, during an interview after Simonette's resignation earlier this year, Simonette revealed that he and the Prime Minister discussed the terms of the lease when Minnish called him on the matter while he was in Mexico. He did not say when the call was made, but indicated it came ahead of that resolution. Davis referred to that conversation as he sought to make his case for the PM's resignation. However, leader of government business in the House, Renward Wells, countered with an amendment to make it a vote of confidence in the Prime Minister.
Now be it therefore resolved that this honorable House has full confidence in the member for Kalani and that he continues to serve as Prime Minister in this honorable.
Wells asserted that the opposition's resolution was designed to incite public resentment against the government. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
The Public Hospitals Authority has no intention of firing any junior doctors, according to the Minister of Health, who dismissed reports that several junior doctors had been fired as fake news. He says it is simply a deployment exercise. Giorgio Bain reports.
Following an announcement that 20 junior doctors had been terminated by the Public Hospital Authority, Minister of Health Dr. Dwayne Sands stating that that news is absolutely false and that those doctors were not terminated, but they were transferred to different healthcare facilities.
This fake news is not anything about anybody terminating doctors. It is about a decision that we are going to make sure that our hospitals and clinics are adequately staffed to provide safe care for the Bahamian people.
Sands said he was completely blindsided by reports that junior doctors were fired by the Public Hospital Authority.
There are no terminations. Categorically, there are no terminations. You know, I think it's very unfortunate when we play on the emotions of the Bahamian public. Let me say that I was blindsided by this report by Eyewitness News last night and then the interview of the union president.
According to the health minister, Bahamian taxpayers spend millions for medical students to attend medical school. They then come to Princess Margaret Hospital as interns and are expected to apply for a position as a senior house officer, but all doctors will not be able to stay at the public hospital.
Over the years, despite the fact that Princess Margaret Hospital is only accredited for about 25 interns, we have allowed that number to increase year by year. And the number of SHOs have increased dramatically. PMH has said to us that they have only positions for 13 SHOs. There are 23 interns that graduated last year who are vying for those posts. They have been told that they have to compete for those posts. Those that do not get a post will now be deployed at Anstown, at Fleming Street, at South Beach.
Sands said for far too long the government has had to bring in doctors from other countries, but now that practice will come to an end.
This is all about deployment. Nobody is going to be terminated, but not everybody is going to work at Princess Margaret Hospital.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Giorgio Bain.
A man was stabbed to death after an altercation with a group of men on Elizabeth Avenue and Bay Street this morning. According to the police report, a group of men got into an altercation shortly after 2 a.m., resulting in one man being stabbed. EMS personnel were called and attempted to revive the man. However, he died on the scene. National Security Minister Marvin Dames is slamming critics who have criticized the decision to reassign Assistant Commissioner of Police Ken Strawn as the Chief Security Officer at the Department of Social Services. Strawn was one of 8 senior police officers who were suddenly placed on leave in March. However, upon Strawn's return on Monday, he was given a letter appointing him as Chief of Security at the Willie Mae Pratt Center for Girls and Simpson Penn Center for Boys. Dames says Strawn's new appointment was not a demotion by any stretch of the imagination, insisting that transitions are carried out with the utmost respect.
Demoted? That's incorrect. Totally incorrect. And it's nonsense.
Dames insisted Strawn's new role as Chief Security Officer of the Juvenile School is part of the overall remit because that's a part of the Ministry of Social Services.
Under that remit, as you know, we have Simpson Penn and Willie Mae Pratt, we have urban renewal, we have any number of other entities under the ministry that requires significant support. And so what we're trying to do is we're taking a holistic approach, as we continue to say, to fighting crime.
Still to come on Our News, The Point prepares to open. Plus, a Baintown woman needs a kidney transplant. That's coming up when Our News returns.